Good afternoon, everybody. It is 2, 3. I can't tell. Oh, 2:20. Okay. Last night was kind of rough. I only got between the first period of sleep and the second period of sleep, maybe 5 hours worth of sleep, 4 to 5 hours worth of sleep last night. I had fallen asleep last night at 1, woke up at 2:20 or something like that. Could not go back to sleep, so I ended up coming in here to look at my comments and various pieces of information on the web. And it wasn't until close to 7 o'clock that I went back in the bedroom and laid down and finally fell back to sleep. Jerry let me sleep until at least 10. Well, actually, Jerry didn't wake me up the first time or the second time. I'm not exactly 100% sure what woke me up, but what kept me up was whatever woke me up sparked my brain into gear. And not only did it spark my brain into gear, but it put it into hyperdrive. And I had to deal with that for almost 5 hours. Because I mean, after I got up, answered nature's call, and laid back down. When I laid back down, I was thinking, okay, I'll fall back to sleep. And my brain went, nope, 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 nope. We got too many things to think about, too many things to do. And I just kind of went, oh God, it's going to be one of those mornings, is it? And I think between my brain, my body, and Jerry's seasonal problems, which cause her to snore. She does normally she does snore all year round, but it's during the allergy season that it's worse. It's louder and more disturbing. I'm not mad at Jerry for it. I'm not complaining about Jerry. I'm just stating my opinion and what I know. And you know, part of me, I think part of what didn't allow me to go back to sleep, besides my brain going bonkers, is because I'm such a caretaker for her that I literally sat in bed for a while and went, okay, is she okay? Has she stopped snoring? If she stopped snoring, did she stop breathing? All the little things that a caretaker or spouse would worry about when they know that their spouse has health issues of one form or another, whether it's just simply allergenic or the full blown spectrum of what we have to deal with on a regular basis. But that aside, when I went to bed, when I crawled back in bed, she was half awake, half asleep. I don't know if she woke up and stayed up, or she fell back to sleep because I just zonked right out. But I do remember her asking me if I was okay, and I was just, yeah, I'm fine. Now, in certain medical studies and whatnot, if a man who's dealing with his own personal demons or whatnot says, yeah, I'm fine, usually they're not fine. But in this case, I was okay. I wasn't having any major issues other than my brain not wanting to shut down. But I did a video or two this morning in the early AM that I deleted right away because one, they were just me trying to sort out my thoughts and vent a little bit about certain things, and I decided that they weren't publicationable or public worthy. So I just I basically did my rant or whatnot and deleted the video. And I'm sorry, I gotta move this. It's the ADHD is kicking in, going. I'm not center in the camera, But anyhow, that's just me and my issues. But I guess once I got whatever was causing my brain to go nuts out, and off my chest, I was able to start to fall asleep. So that was my morning. My afternoon, once I woke up and was able to stumble out into the kitchen and make coffee for both me and Jerry Ann, we sat down for, oh, I say a good 2 hours until almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon, from like 10:30 ish to 12:45, 12:49, somewhere around there. We we had a nice long chit chat, and it wasn't about what are the plans for the day, even though I did say that I would like to, and I told her the 2 or 3 things I'd like to do today, but I have a feeling that's going to be a no-go because of lack of sleep and energy, and it's kind of icky and nasty outside, which makes me feel a little in the first place. Um, I decided that once we got done with our nice long chit chat about a variety of different subjects and issues, and I listened to her voice her concerns for my well-being, and she literally gave me a what for about you need to do self-care. I'm not as needy as I once was. You need to take the time. You need to set the time instead of goofing off on the computer or whatnot to, you know, get a hold of your doctors and change over your insurance and all that fun stuff, so I can start having use our new insurance basically to visit our doctor more regularly, go see a podiatrist, a foot doctor, go see a dentist, go see an eye doctor, because if I start going blind and I can't drive, we're not going to be able to do anything but sit around and wait for other people to whatever. You know, I hate for my mom to have to do anything, but we'd have to get somebody who can come in almost 24/7 to, you know, do the house chores, cook meals, pay our bills, things like that, because we're both basically blind. Even though we can see to a certain extent, but we might be like, oh, you're clinically blind, so you can't drive no more. No, no, I'm sorry. Um, that's a no go. No bueno. No Never mind. I can't talk all of a sudden. I am literally having issues. But in the interim of being awake yesterday, I saw a couple different. I saw one particular. Well, I had people make comments about my dreams of a restaurant that one of my viewers asked me about. And then I don't know if it's the same viewer or if it's the other viewer, because I got 2 different viewers who have been with me since the get-go, since day one, Sheila and Nellie. And there are, they do ask me questions. And this particular question, and I think this one came from Sheila, but I don't remember. No, the last one came from Sheila, so this one might have come from Nellie. I'm not sure because I forgot to write down the name. But the question is similar to the previous question, but slightly different. This one is, if I had unlimited money, what RV would I get? That's the first out of the 2 or 3 questions. Well, I would have to say, if it was unlimited money, I would probably try to get one of these big fancy Class A type RVs that would feel like home away from home, which, if I had my druthers, if I didn't have to worry about limitations, that's what I would probably do. But since I don't have the skill to get a license to drive a Class A, because you have to have a special license for a Class A, I would stick with our original Class C idea. Now, last summer, before Jerry realized that she had cancer, we had gone to Campers World and looked at some of their Class C campers. Now, Class C camper is basically similar to it. If you would take the windows and the nice paint job or facade, it would look like something that you can go rent from U-Haul. You know, 28, 32 footer. I think I can handle one of those because they're almost like driving a cargo van. Now, don't take this the wrong way, folks, because I've thought about this. I've thought about it in several different mannerisms. With me and Jerry, it would have to be a Class C because it needs to be big enough for Jerry Ann to be able to move around. And this is after her leg heals and whatnot. And the doctors give her the go to start bearing weight on that right leg. We were looking at a Thor Elite. It's the name of the RV we were looking at, the Thor Elite. Now, my biggest concern when I was first looking at RVs were the slide outs, because they have to be slid in order for you to travel. Otherwise, they're sticking out on the highway, and you're basically an oversized vehicle. So we were looking primarily at the ones that did not have slide outs. And then we saw one, the Thor Elite, that had one slide out. I think it was one slide out, and that was for the bedroom. And basically, you didn't have to do anything. You just hit the button to make the slide go back in or out, and you don't have to fold down a part of the bed or anything like that. And it had enough room between the dresser system and the end of the bed, and I think it was a queen size bed, for me to be able to skirt around to get to the side of the bed that was closest to the wall. And I realized, well, in a pinch, like let's say Jerry couldn't drive no more and I was getting tired, we can pull off the road at a rest stop or a Love's or anything like that, and just park the van. Don't even have to extend the slide out, and then take a nap, take a rest period, and not have to worry about bathrooms or food or where are we going to sleep type ordeal. I've noticed here in Rolla at the Walmart parking lot, every so often I'll see a Class C, and they've got the pop out, the slide out so they can sleep in their bedroom. It really depends on a lot of different things, because if I don't start taking care of my eyes, there may be a chance we can't do it, which still I would be like, nope, I'm not living like that. So I think it would be like a Class C. And I'm not trying to rush anything, but if Jerry's still with us, when we can afford to get an RV, or if we had unlimited money and could get the RV, as basically tomorrow if I wanted to, we would probably get a Class C. Now, if I was by myself, Jerry had passed away or anything like that, God forbid, I'm not looking for her to go. I've got a lot of things that she needs to teach me before she does, like doing the budget. If I was by myself, it would probably be a Class B, because they might be a little bit wider or a little bit longer than your average minivan. Or cargo. No, cargo was Class C. But Class Bs, which are like a minivan, and for some reason, because they're a van conversion of sorts, they actually cost more than the Class Cs. I would go for something like that. And there's a couple of them, I don't remember their names, that I saw that I was like, ooh, that's an interesting way of converting a van into an RV. Um, and like I said, I can't remember the one that I saw that I thought would be the best for me by myself. It did not have any slide outs. Um, the kitchen and whatnot was towards the back of the van, while there was a couch right there in front. As you walk through the sliding door, there was a couch there, a little bit of a stick out from the countertop for the kitchenette, and it was a Murphy bed. So at nighttime, you just drop, you pull on this, you either pushed a button or pulled on something, and it drops down the Murphy bed. And during the daytime, you pop it back up into place, and you saw the couch. So the couch was kind of like part of the Murphy bed, because no, because what was it? Did the couch pull out and then the Murphy bed came down, or did the couch just stay where it was and the Murphy bed came down, pushing the back of a couch down flat, and it had support struts? I can't remember the full schematics, but I looked at a variety of different RVs that I was like, that would work for me, or that would work for me and Jerry. And I think what really kind of pushed me to look even harder was after Jerry had been diagnosed with cancer, and the first thing that jumped into my brain without knowing the full spectrum was like, oh, type 4 or class 4, however you put it, cancer, which, all the preliminary information I read was like, it's terminal, it's terminal, it's terminal. But since the doctor even said that he cannot put a expiration date, however you want to put it, they could not tell by her blood work and whatnot what to say you could most of what we read on her type of cancer at stage 4, that's what it is. Stage 4 is most people with her cancer at stage 4 had a life expectancy of 5 years. Doctors did not give us you've got X amount of time to live or anything like that. They just said you have stage 4. I forgot the scientific name they gave for it, but kidney cancer in the right kidney. And because the factor it skipped her lungs, which this type of cancer usually goes kidney, lungs, bones, it went from kidney to bone, skipping the lung. And usually once it gets into the lungs, that's when they can sit there and go, okay, it's in your lungs, you have X amount of time before you could pass away. So even though she has this kidney cancer, it's a rare form of kidney cancer because it did not get to her lungs. It just got to the kidney, the blood, and the bones, not the lungs. So at first I was like, oh, I'm going to be by myself. What do I want to do once I'm by myself after a couple years? And the first thing that came to my mind was, if I have enough money, I can get a Class B RV and work in Yellowstone in the summers, live out of the RV, work in Grand Canyon or somewhere warmer during the winters, or spend my winters with Mom celebrating Christmas and whatever. And so that's that on the RV. But there's 2 questions attached. Actually, it's 1 question, but I turned it into 2 questions because of, let's just make it 1 question. Because it says, where would you go first? Like, where would Jane and I go first? Well, that's a difficult question. Because there are so many different places that we want to go. So many things that we want to do once we get to live an RV lifestyle. Because we talked about going to Texas to visit everybody down in Texas. We talked about going to Arizona so, Jerry can meet the Henson side of my family. all my family in Arizona, travel up to Washington State and meet a couple cousins up there. Try to find the cousins that I heard about in Colorado. We want. She's never been. Well, she never went. She never saw the Four Corners region or the Grand Canyon during the daytime. Um, Mount Rushmore, Yellowstone, the red trees of the big old trees in California, the redwoods. Um, we've got friends and family all across the country that we would like to finally either meet face to face or just see them again. We talked about going to New York to see her family up there. And if we're living an RV lifestyle, if we wanted to spend an extended period of time in upstate New York, like we were considering moving to upstate New York at one point in time to be closer to her family. I don't know if that's still, on the backboard of the stove or whatever we're gonna call it, but we don't have a specific first time destination or first destination with the RV. I'm about 99.9% positive that it would be sometime in late August, right before, actually anytime after August, if I don't have to work, is to go down to Texas. Because her friend's eldest daughter, Lisa's eldest daughter, is having her second baby, and it's going to be another girl. And she's due in September, and unless somebody was willing to come up here and pick up Jerry and take her down to Texas, she won't be able to go see the baby shower or anything like that, because she's not supposed to drive. Legally, she's blind. And if I have to go back to work, I'll be working when that happens. So unless we do we're gonna have everything ready to leave. So Friday after work, come home, get a nap, wake up butt crack of dawn or earlier, and drive there in the 12 hours it takes, spend one night to visit everybody, and then leave the next day, which I think is ridiculous. If we're going to go, we should go for at least 4 days. But by the time the weekend before the birth or whatnot occurs, I'll only be at work for a couple weeks. And I don't want to work. I come into work going, hey, I need this weekend, these 4 days off. I know I'm just starting back to work, but I've got a friend of the family who's having her second child down in Texas, and we want to go. No, I'm not going to do that. Of course, Jerry would love it if I didn't have to work for a multitude of reasons. But yeah, Texas would probably be the first place we go. And if I don't have to work and we're RVing, whether it's turning the back end of our minivan into a temporary RV until we can afford one, try to find a decent used one, because me and Jerry don't care if it's used or not, as long as it's not so overused that it's a lemon. We're thrifty. If I thought I could handle a trailer behind the minivan, and granted the minivan can only do up to a 3,000 pound payload, that's trailer and vehicle. If I could do it that way and get one of those teardrop trailers that I looked at one point in time online, and they were like 2,500 pounds max, and the van could deal with 125 max, with another 5,000 pounds in the car, and I don't even think the car can handle 5,000 pounds inside, payload wise. I would do that. I joked around with Jerry Ann at one point in time and said if we're going to turn our van into a temporary mobile into a temporary RV, unless we get crafty like some of the other minivan people who basically live out of their minivans and turned it into an RV. I was joking that maybe we need to go buy one of these small trailers, old U-Haul trailer that's really small, just to carry the extra camping gear. And I was joking because of the amount of stuff that we've gotten. But yeah, I think the first place would be Texas, just because. Of course, while Lisa was up here last week, no, 2 weeks ago, somewhere around there, about a week or two ago, she wanted to go see if Campers World here in Missouri, which according to her internet research would have been cheaper than the Campers World down in Texas. She wanted to look for a particular Class C type RV, because that was going to be her retirement plan. Once she got her hip fixed and worked on, and she can, not have to have that pain while she's walking, that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to get one of these Class C RVs. Jayco is the brand name. To basically, that would be her retirement. And we got up into one of the Jaycos there at Campus World down here near Springfield, and she had no problem getting into it. She had no problem climbing into it on the driver's seat. She had no problem with getting into the driver's seat from the interior. Everything was big enough for her. And it did have a, what they call a mega slide, which is one whole side of the RV comes out. And it would have been like the dining room, the dining area, the bedroom, and the bathroom would just extend out from the RV. And that's what she wanted. I was like, oh, yeah, no, it's your money. You decide what you want to do. I'm just here to support, give you my opinion and look at things from a second pair of eyes, basically, which is what she wanted from me. She wanted to get my input, basically. And I thought it would be the perfect thing for her, She's single. She doesn't need a lot of space. She doesn't have to deal with kids. She might be able to take the grandkids, camping in the RV, that kind of thing. I mean, it was big enough to sleep 6 people. And we're not talking about just 6 young people. We're talking about like maybe 2 or 3, 2 adults and 4 kids. But, the way she could set things up is she can have all 5 of the grandkids. Well, right now 4 grandkids, but once Eden's baby is born and is old enough to go with grandma on adventures with the cousins, her sister's kids. As for me and Jerry, well, we're going to first try to do it, just a basic camping trip out of the back of the RV. And then if we really like it and we're really comfortable and we can start, like, I don't want to say permanent living out of the RV just yet, but a good long-term temporary, couple weeks, maybe a month. We might start building up the interior of the RV like some of the other people, interior of the minivan, like we've seen some of the other people do with their minivans. In fact, we watched on YouTube a lady who was probably around Lisa's age, upper 50s, low 60s, who had, she basically had the assistance of a family member or a elder son help build cabinets or set up the interior of the RV with storage under the bed, things like that. And one guy that we watched literally turned the whole back end of his camper or his minivan into the RV. Literally, he built cabinets and he installed them without having to drill holes into the van itself. He just made it where once he got it into place and got the overhang connectors to keep the cabinets from falling inwards, it looked really good. And then there was like this gap in between the overhang connectors for the cabinets and the top of the van to slide small, slide various things like his window shades or whatnot up there without worry or concern. I mean, he looked like he had carpentry skills and that kind of stuff to do it. Engineering slash carpentry, because between the lighting and the cabinetry and the basically not having to drill holes into the vehicle itself was just astounding. It was amazing. You know, granted, one of the two sliding doors that he had on his minivan was blocked by the cabinets on one side, but he could still use the other door to get in and out, and the back door, the hatchback, to get in and out. Even though, actually, no, he couldn't, because I think he was the guy that basically built a cabinet system in the back cargo hold of the minivan. He took the seats out and he turned that back area into a portable kitchen. So he had like he took a 50-gallon, or not a 50-gallon, a 5-gallon jug that you can refill at most any Walmarts, and basically added a faucet system, so he didn't have to worry about his water source until that jug ran out. And then he had a simple system where you remove this one component, pull the jug out, take it inside and fill it, or change out jugs if he had a spare jug. So he had like he had a wash basin, and then his cook surface was basically a butane operated Coleman 2-burner stove that had its own compartment that slid in and out of. So when he was cooking, he would slide it up, set up the backsplash and whatnot, and cook his meals. And then in the cabinets had like dry goods, the pots and pans and silverwares, and all the different components you need for a basic one-person kitchenette. The only thing that he said that he wished he could have done, actually no, I think he did have it. He had, once, the Coleman cooker camp stove would slide into place, and he had this hidden door or hinged doorway that underneath it was a battery powered, or not a battery powered, it ran off the car's electrical system, or a solar panel unit of sorts. And he had like this mini fridge. Basically, it was a plug it into a car outlet or car cigarette lighter, and boom, you had power for the mini fridge. But a lot of them go from elaborate, oh, I set up lights and I have this generator and this rechargeable battery system and all the bells and whistles that you would think you would need to convert the back end of your minivan into a nice luxurious RV. But there's a lot to think about when it comes to RVing, because it's like, are you going to go big and buy an RV? And literally, a lot of RVs, you can set up what is basically like a mortgage on the RV itself and pay it off like a mortgage. Or people who just go, I don't have the money, so what can I do? Oh, I have my minivan. Let's turn my minivan into a workable RV, or a workable sleeping system with storage cabinets and an outdoor kitchen, and depending on how fancy you want to go. So I along the lines of this question of, what kind of RV would I get if I had unlimited resources? Um, yeah, if I had unlimited resources, it would definitely be a pre-made Class C RV, whether it was a Thor Elite or a Jayco. Those are two big names, but I don't know. It would depend on a lot of personal things. Like one of the things that we talked about is if we got a actual Class C RV that I could handle. Most fast food places or drive ups or whatnot is not designed to accommodate an RV. So it would be like, okay, we have the RV. Are we going to drive it everywhere, or are we going to have a secondary vehicle of one form or another, whether it was a decent sized car or Jeep or something that Jerry could fit in easily to be the passenger while I was the driver? Or are we going to, like, bicycles or something along that line that we can just strap to the back end of the RV without having to worry about a trailer? There's a lot of different things to think about. Now, if I wanted to go extremely big, because I have unlimited resources and don't have to worry about the dollar sign, there was an RV that I saw a couple years back. It was in a magazine or online, and this was like a mega luxury RV where you had to have that special CDL license or specialized license to drive the RV itself. And what it was is the RV was this nice, beautiful, all the bells and whistles, and in between the wheels was this giant cargo slot that held a sports car. I don't know if it was if it was it wasn't a Ferrari. Maybe it was a Ferrari, but it was a kind of low, compact car with the sun the roof that can come off. The top basically gets folded into a cargo space on the vehicle, and it was designed where when you got to where your destination was, you can go out there to the storage area and basically open up the garage and have an automatic system to bring your RV, your sports car out and gently set it on the ground, and you can just drive over those little forks like they were speed bumps and go about your travels, or you're visiting the area that you want to visit. Now that sounds great and whatnot, but no, I wouldn't want a sports car. I would want an RV that had a garage bay to park like a Jeep, or if I thought I could do it, maybe what they call a toy hauler. It's a Class A toy hauler that has a bunk system for the kids, a bedroom for the adults, and it had a back end that you walked into it like open up a door and go out there, and the back end of the RV comes down like a ramp, and I would have like a what they call a spider, which is a reversed tricycle of the old school motorcycles, where the three-wheeled motorcycles, but with the spiders, the two wheels were up front while the one wheel was in the back, and it front wheel drive, of course. And according to all the information I have about those things, because I thought about getting one of those for myself, is they're front wheel drive and they handle like a car, steers like a car, but it has handlebars like a motorcycle. And I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting. I think I can handle that without getting into accidents, unless I don't know, I don't see the person behind me, or the person behind me doesn't see me, or excuse me, any of that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, those are my thoughts about that question. it's kind of hard to make a decision because there's the practicality of what we've already seen and know we can afford. Um, Maybe hopefully here in a year or two, um, or even now, if we basically lived in it all the time and got rid of all our other bills, basically, help mom move into a smaller house and you know decrease our bills. We can probably handle living out of an RV. Like the Thor Leaf that we saw, the one that we saw, it was 70, somewhere between 65,000 and 75,000. The one we looked at, or the one I looked at. But right now, it's kind of like, well, Jerry can't get up into it because of her leg and back situation. But hopefully by next summer, that's not an issue, and we just have to worry about getting our P's and Q's in order. Compared to, like, let's say, the question asked, if I had no limitations financially, what kind of RV I would get? Well, I would have to look at how well it handles, and do I think I can handle driving it, since I will be the driver. You know, of course, if I had unlimited financing, I would get the big RV and just hire somebody to drive it around for me, so me and Jerry can enjoy the ride and not have to worry about get not really a retired bus driver, but somebody who's experienced with those kind of vehicles. But I'm not famous. I don't need a driver. I can drive myself right now. And even if I go blind, I would still want to go on excursions or trips to natural parks and whatnot, so I lose my sight, but I don't lose my other senses. And I think the problem with eyesight is too many people use their eyes to judge the cover of the book that's in front of them and not get to know the book itself, to see the heart and soul of what's underneath the cover or the facade. And that's how I try to approach and deal with people nowadays: is don't look at don't look at their skin color, don't look at their hair, don't look at their what they look like and all that fun stuff. Because if I were to let myself judge other people for their looks, I would either get myself into a buttload of trouble for chasing after the wrong person, or I wouldn't want to deal with them because they're not to my dumbass visual preferences. And I think that's one of the reasons why I have an easier time dealing with people from foreign countries, because even if they are from the Middle East, Africa, the different skin tones from the different nationalities, that right there, I think, is a big problem, because so many people are like, oh, you're not white, or oh, you're not black. What does that matter? What does it matter what our skin tone is? But anyhow, I'm gonna let you guys go, because this is almost a 45-minute video. Hopefully my answers to your question, to this particular question, whether it was Sheila or Nelly, because I know it was one of the two, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. And please, during your 4th of July celebrations and whatnot, be mindful of your surroundings. Try to do everything with caution and safety, but have fun. I'm not saying, oh, it's too dry or it's too dangerous, don't play with the fireworks. No, I'm just saying, be mindful of what you're doing in your surroundings and try not to get hurt, but enjoy your 4th of July. It's an important day here in America. I have no idea what I'll be doing on the 4th, whether I take Jerry out to watch fireworks, or we do what we've been doing the last couple of years of just staying indoors and just allowing our neighbors and whatnot to set theirs off. Sometimes I step outside to watch the neighbors set them off, because sometimes it's a nice, even though it's not a big spectacular display, but it's cool to watch other people do it. Of course, I think some of the ways I've seen people launch their skyrocketing firecrackers and whatnot is dangerous, because they want to light them in their hand and toss them up in the air and let it go wherever it wants to go, which could be bad, because it could hit somebody's yard or house and whatnot and catch fire, or as it spins up in the air, come shooting right back down at you. Put it in a bottle and let the bottle be the platform for it to launch. That way it goes straight up and nobody gets hurt. I know there's a lot of people out there who love seeking the thrills and chills and of the dangers and the aspects of getting hurt. That's why MTV created the Jackass movies, because of people doing dumb, stupid stuff. But that's the thrill and chill of the adrenaline rush that people seek. Not me. I like to keep my feet on the ground and enjoy life in a nice, calm, safe manner, but still have my adventures without doing stupid stuff. Anyhow, you guys have a good 4th of July. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have questions, comments, whatever comes to your brain that has to do with this video, or something that I'm interested in, go right ahead, put it in the comment box. If you're not a subscriber yet, and you choose to for whatever reason, or want to for whatever reason, you can click on that subscription button, and then a little bell will pop up. You click on the bell, and YouTube will let you know when I put my next video in. So until next time, tomorrow, enjoy. Bye.